time for This Week on the Ice, and here are your hosts, Randy Preston and Carol McKee.
Good afternoon. Welcome to This Week on the Ice. I'm Randy Preston here with Carol McKee. Hi, Carol.
Hi, Mr. Hockey. It's great to be back at the IcePlex with you.
It is always great to be back at the IcePlex, although you and I both spent a fair amount of time here this weekend.
I did, here, and I spent a lot of time in Mitchell, too. So.
Mitchell, and I think you had a Bantam tournament over in Mitchell.
Yes, I had a Bantam tournament. It was a great weekend.
Yeah.
Started out Friday night here with the Squirt tournament.
Right.
Was over at the Bantam tournament in Mitchell yesterday, and man, was there ever some great hockey. Really saw some impressive young players that are up and coming. Some of those games reminded me, the speed of play was more of a varsity type speed of play. And just some fun games, and I got to visit with a lot of the players.
Okay.
And then I also got to go to the Mites. They had a little Mites Jamboree.
Oh, that's cool.
And I thought how much you'd enjoy that. It was fun. I got to visit, and I did interviews with quite a few players, and quite a few of the Mites players.
That's cool.
It was fun. I'll have to tell you a little bit later when we get over the Mitchell report about one of my interviews with one of the Mites
that's
players.
Perfect. I, on the other hand, I spent Friday night at the Denny with the Stampede game, a little PA action.
Okay.
Fairly fun Stampede game, and then got a call on Wednesday or Thursday from the Squirt tournament here, and a little notice popped up in my Facebook saying, hey, we still have 40-some hours of volunteer time needed.
Oh, wow.
This was as of Wednesday or Thursday. So I sent an email to Matt and I asked him, hey, would you like me to come and help PA? I'm available. I've got nothing to do on Saturday. Can't help you on Friday, can't help you on Sunday, and so I came out and did PA and helped train actually several new off-ice officials on Saturday all day here at the rink.
That's wonderful, Randy. I miss being here with you, but I really had fun where I was at. And that training of off-ice officials, as we talked about before, is so essential.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it was an interesting day. You know, I am doing my thing with the music and the PA and trying to keep that stuff all square. I've got a relatively new person sitting next to me running the score sheet, and you know that was relatively easy to train. And then I had two new people to teach on the scoreboard at the same time.
Great.
And so I'm running around all over the place back there. I've got coaches yelling. I've got officials going, why isn't the penalty up on the board yet? But we got it all squared away.
Well, and from our perspective, live streaming, we live streamed 16 games this weekend.
Yikes.
Between here at the IcePlex on Friday night and yet Saturday morning, the games in Mitchell, and then last night's varsity games, girls games over in Brookings, and then back here again this morning. 16 games, and you really begin to appreciate the timeliness and the accuracy of what the off-ice officials put up on that scoreboard, because I rely on it. As we're commenting on the game, you try and see the number of the player who scored or who gave the assist, but I have to rely on the off-ice officials to announce it to make sure we've got it right, in terms of the clock, the goals, everything. So it's not just the spectators.
No, and we had young officials working the games here as well, and so I was mentoring them a little bit and trying to keep their spirits up as they were getting the typical official. I'm not going to call it badgering, but you know what I'm getting at. The coaches thinking this call was wrong or this call was missed, and you've got a 14, 15-year-old kid out there who's really reffing probably their first set of real games, and they did a fantastic job, and I wanted them to know that, and I want the coaches to know that. Yeah, they missed some stuff, but you know what? I've been in your buildings before, and your refs have missed some stuff, so this isn't anything strange.
Yeah, and contrary to what some may believe, the referees really aren't for either team. They're for the best game possible. They want to give the kids a good opportunity to show their skills. And when I was here Friday, I have to commend the parents and the coaches. I didn't see or hear any negative comments thrown out there on the ice, and I really appreciated that. It makes for a much more enjoyable game.
Yeah.
So that was really nice to have.
Well, it got a little brutal on Saturday, but it wasn't as bad as the previous weekend. So, I was happy to hear that we got some good positive comments on our talk on sportsmanship last week.
We did. We have received a number of messages and comments and tweets, private and emails from people saying how much they appreciated the soapbox stance that we were taking. And then I've had people approach me personally, referees in person, to say they appreciate that someone is out there reminding people that that sportsmanship matters, and that referees are people too, and that they do their best to not make mistakes. But just like parents, players, and coaches, they are going to make mistakes.
Right.
And sometimes when you go out on the ice for the first time, even though you have somebody with you, it's a little nerve-wracking, and you don't need anybody yelling at you, telling you everything that you're doing wrong.
It can be. And as a parent of an official, where I haven't gone through it myself, I can certainly appreciate it, just having watched my son Trevor go through all of these different things over the years. And you know, he's really grown up, and but it takes a little bit to get that skin.
It does.
Thick enough so that stuff just doesn't matter.
Yeah, when you don't automatically have that thick skin when you're 14 trying to officiate at a sports game or 15.
Right.
You know, and I have been an official. I was an official for several years with soccer, and all of our kids were officials. Randy was, and you really appreciate it. You know, I did it just because I wanted to become a better coach, and lo and behold, I was on the referee schedule. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, was to be in that position. So you appreciate more what people go through. And I have yet to meet the youth sports official that says, I'm out there to make sure my team wins. They're out there to make sure that the kids have the best game they can have.
They
Give them the benefit of the doubt.
That sounds good. Well, it is time for our youth hockey report.
It is.
So you've got a lot of stuff here to cover.
We have quite a bit of stuff to cover. And before we do get to that, though, Randy, I do want to give an update. Let's talk a little bit about Nate Wick.
Oh, sure.
You know, I was so thrilled when I checked this morning to see a report from late last night that Nate is much better now. It actually came up early morning, I think yesterday. Nate is doing much better. If you haven't heard, Nate Wick is a middle school player who is on the Sioux Falls Bantam team here, and he was at basketball tryouts on Monday and collapsed. I think they originally called it cardiac arrest, but they did have to do CPR and use the paddles basically to get him to respond. It was very scary. They wound up taking him to Iowa City for testing. He was in an induced coma, as I understand it. Well, they were trying to figure out what was going on and to get his body temperature down. He had some other serious issues. But in the new post on the GoFundMe account for Nate, it's called Nate's Heart. There's a picture of Nate awake, smiling. He's starting to come out of some of the medications that they had him under to keep him calm. And the news is that they haven't figured out exactly what caused it, but that's good news. That means his heart is strong, and they have a few more tests to run. But it was really cool at Mitchell yesterday. They were doing a fundraiser for Nate, passing the hat in the stands, taking donations at the front, and there's been just a tremendous outpouring of support for the Wick family and for Nate's quick recovery on the website GoFundMe.com, Nate's Heart. And we also have put some things up on Hockey 605 on our Facebook page and tweeted out some information to people, and there has been a tremendous outpouring, but Nate's doing much better, folks, and we're just so thrilled to be able to report that to you. I know that's a parent's worst nightmare to have something like that happen.
And this is going to be a huge financial burden for the parents. So if you don't mind, go out to GoFundMe, help Nate and help Nate's parents out. They had a fundraising goal of $25,000 on the GoFundMe. They are over 80% of the way there in 4 days.
They are, but you know, the out-of-pocket expenses for what they've gone through with the transportation and everything else could be huge. I'm sure they will appreciate everything that people can send. And heartfelt prayers and warm wishes, of course, are always welcome. But Nate, buddy, we're looking forward to you getting back on the ice. We got Nate's Heart as our Facebook profile picture until you're back here in Sioux Falls and back on the ice. Good luck, buddy. So that's...
Good luck, Nate.
I want to make sure and cover that, and I know everybody else is pulling for you too, bud.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go on to our youth hockey report. Aberdeen Cougars had some exciting girls varsity games this weekend, last night and today in Brookings. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the JV varsity report, but that's my teaser for today.
All right, good teaser.
The Random Valley Ice Cats, Randy, both the Ice Cats Mites and Squirts earned their their the first ever wins in Brandon Valley Hockey Association history in the last 2 weeks. The Mites picked up a 5-3 win over Sioux Center. I think it was 2 Sundays ago. And then last Saturday, the Squirts picked up a win right here at the Iceplex.
Right.
And I've been exchanging emails this past week with some of the folks at Brandon Valley Hockey Association for some background on the story that we want to do about the Ice Cats and about that historic first win. And find out who all the kids are. And they've been giving me some great information. I hope to get that story back up this week, but as you know, we're having some difficulties right now, and Hockey 605 went down this morning. It went down yesterday. We got it back up. It's unfortunately become so popular that we've got too many people going on, and I think we've got some spammers sending stuff to us, so I can't even get to the emails. So as soon as I can get to those emails and pull that information together, I can get the story. But I do hope we can get those guys on here on the show with us to talk a little bit about what's going on in Brandon Valley Hockey Association.
Certainly. Brookings.
Thanks.
Brookings has 3 more tournaments yet this season. Their termite tournament is the 31st,
right.
January 31st. They have the girls U19 and U12 tournaments. Those will be February 6th, 7th, and 8th. No doubt the largest girls hockey tournament in the state. Full teams from Minnesota, Nebraska, South Dakota, Canada. U19 has teams from Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, in the U12 as well. It's going to be a great tournament.
I'm excited, and you know what? We are hoping that at Hockey 605, keep your fingers crossed, that we'll be able to live stream both divisions.
That would be great.
I'm so excited for this new U12 girls division, because that really bodes well for the future of girls hockey in the state. So we want to try and give them the full money and all the exposure we can possibly give them at that tournament. So
makes sense. Here on All-Stars, Facebook page reports that the boys varsity brought home 4th place from a tournament in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Don't have a lot more information on that, but it's a start.
It's kind of hard to find out information about these tournaments.
Yeah.
And even when you Google them, you can't always find it.
Right.
Mitchell Marlins, I get to tell you my stories.
All right.
I had a blast yesterday. My first time to Mitchell Ice Center since they added the innovative rink. You know, the Toshiba rink has been there and been a mainstay for Mitchell hockey. They've added the innovative rink. What a nice facility with those 2 rinks. The tournament itself, the Phantom tournament, was in the Toshiba rink. There were teams there. They had Tri-City Storm from Nebraska. My first time talking with folks from there. The Fairmont Cardinals.
Okay.
Yankton Miracle was there. Rushmore Thunder had both the black and gold team. And then the Mitchell Marlins. And just some fantastic Phantom hockey.
That's good.
Mitchell Marlins and Thunder, the Rushmore Thunder black team both were formidable. I'm not sure what happened today because tournament information is not really available on the website. Wish I could have been there live streaming games again today.
Great.
But it was really fun talking to those Mites. I interviewed probably 5 or 6 of them, then my camera battery died. And I had to go get a new battery, and then it was time for another live stream of the game. But I was interviewing one little guy from Mitchell, Brody Hulse.
Okay.
And as we're wrapping up, a lot of times I'll give kids an opportunity to do a shout out or say hi to grandma or grandpa. And I asked Brody if he wanted to do that, and he said, no, he didn't. He just wanted to talk about hockey. I loved it.
That's great.
So, we're going to have to talk to him some more about that.
Oh, absolutely.
Then I went and interviewed his brother Landon a little bit later, along with some of the other Mitchell Phantoms. And I did tell Landon that he had some big shoes to fill for his interview because his little brother did such a great job. That was fun. They do have 2 more upcoming tournaments in Mitchell. Valentine's weekend, they have the Mite Roundup.
Okay.
There's room for a couple more teams in Mite. I'm not sure. I was with Al all day yesterday off and on. Forgot to ask him if they still had room for teams. So the best way to find out is to contact him, and I'll give you that information in just a minute. They also have the Squirt A and B coming up February 27th through March 1st, and they did have room for more teams there. So call the M. Shaw Mitchell Skating and Hockey Association Tournament Director Al Holes at 605-941-6195 for entry information into either the Mites or the Squirts A and B tournament.
Very good.
And he did say we can use this phone and share it.
Okay, that's very cool.
I Excuse me. The Samtronis Memorial Foundation, Mitchell Skating and Hockey Association. Of course, we've reported the last couple of weeks. They're sponsoring that Planet Hockey Goalie Clinic. It's a goalie-only super skills camp in June. And the Samtronis Memorial Foundation is covering the first $254 of that camp. That's just a tremendous value.
It's over half.
Yeah.
Over half the cost for the goaltenders for the camp. That's amazing.
Yep. And only 26 can get in. So the deadline for that early bird registration is coming up very quickly. It's the 31st. So you can go on to sdaaha.org and find information there. And register there as well. I did get a chance to visit with Dave Thomas yesterday. We did a live interview online between games. Not sure how it all turned out because live interviews are not always that easy to do. But he did tell us that he's going to try and get into Sioux Falls next month in February so that he can join us here on this one.
Oh, very good. That'd be great. Northern Hills Hockey Association.
Yes.
They had their organizational meeting. It was held last Monday. Waiting for more information, but that's really exciting.
I've heard some really exciting things in the rumor mills, but I hate to report them until we hear it directly from them because it's pretty exciting. People are going to love it.
Can't wait. And the Oahe Capitals. Oahe Capitals, we finally figured out how to share the video on the website.
I am so glad, Randy, that you are also a computer guru. But we got it all figured out, and it's not an easy process, folks. But we now know how to get, if you put a video up on your Facebook page and want us to share it, we now know how to do that. We put up 5-year-old Gavin Wadeen singing the national anthem at the opening of the Tyler Wilcox Memorial Sports Tournament. We talked about it last week.
Yeah, that's cool.
And he is so adorable. And evidently a lot of other people think so too. That post has had some of the highest views of any of our posts on Facebook.
Oh, that's great. And then the Riggs High School Band played the national anthem at the game on Friday night.
They were there performing. I'm not sure what all they did, but I heard that they were there, and it sounded like people had a great time.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. And then Rushmore Thunder. There were 2 Rushmore Thunder teams this weekend at the Mitchell Pee Wee Phantom Bay tournament.
Yep.
Excuse me. And you had the chance to visit with a few of them.
I did. It was nice visiting with the kids afterwards. Some of those were live interviews with the Rushmore Thunder Gold, and then I got to go to taped interviews with the Rushmore Thunder Black afterwards. And we should have those interviews up probably pretty late tonight, but it was nice visiting with them, visiting with the coaches and finding out what's going on in Rushmore. And I'll let you watch the interviews we put up a little later for that information. But it was a nice time visiting with them.
Sounds good. Sioux Falls Flyers, they had the incredibly successful Squirt A tournament here over the weekend. Teams from Aberdeen and Sioux Falls from South Dakota, Junior Stars from Lincoln, Sioux City, Iowa Gold, and then 4 Minnesota teams. Laverne, Marshall, the Rochester Red Snipers, I still love that name.
I know, I do
and
too.
the Worthington Trojans. It was a great weekend of hockey here at the Iceplex. I got a chance to work some of the games. I had a blast.
I was here Friday night and then this morning.
Okay.
So I didn't get any of the games on Saturday, but I enjoyed watching it. And of course, I love talking to the Squirts. Their passion for the game is just so fun. And I did get to visit with some of the Laverne Cardinals players.
Okay.
Some of the kids from Worthington, Lincoln, the Lincoln Junior Stars, and of course the champions, the Sioux Falls Flyers. Those guys are just so excited to be.
Yeah, they had a lot of very proud posts on Facebook this morning after the win against Laverne, and you know, maybe a surprising win. I don't know, but it's kind of cool for your first ever tournament for the team sponsoring the tournament to take the victory.
It's a historical event.
Absolutely.
You know, I think one of the things, Randy, that with the Squirts tournament that was really fun was that there were teams coming in, as you said, from all over. And South Dakota kids, hockey players, tend to think, oh, it's a Minnesota team, we can't beat them.
Right.
That's not true. Minnesota, people may think of Minnesota when they say hockey, but more and more, I think they're going to start thinking about South Dakota, Iowa. So
it'll get there. It'll get there.
It was fun, and congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, Sioux Falls Flyers. Absolutely. Now, the Yankton Miracle. We were checking out the website for news and noticed the Hockey 605 logo and a link.
Yes.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, thank you, Miracle. We appreciate that. They do have a tournament coming up, January 31st through February 1st, and I think the tournament's full. The schedule's out now.
Okay.
And that is, that's their sport tournament.
Right.
And I'm hoping that we can get down there for some of that and visit with those kids. And that pretty much wraps it up, other than the state tournaments that are happening.
They're coming up soon, but we'll talk more about that as we continue down the road. We've got a few weeks yet left before those happen.
Yes, we do.
All right. So why don't we stop, take a quick break from one of our sponsors, and we will be right back.
Hockey Headquarters, assisting all your goals. Visit them today at thehockeyheadquarters.com.
Welcome back. Randy Preston here with Hockey 605's This Week on the Ice, here with Carol McKee.
And it's great to be back again here.
It sure is. And before we move on to the varsity report, I understand we have a milestone to talk about.
We do. We have a really impressive milestone in the Bantam A.
Okay.
The Rushmore Bantam A1, a team that I actually got to watch this weekend, have scored 100 goals this season.
And they still have 4 weeks left.
They still have quite a bit of season left.
Wow, that's
100
amazing.
goals. So they hit the century mark. That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
That's very impressive. That's very cool.
Yeah, so...
Congratulations to the Thunder.
Yeah. Hats off, guys. I'm impressed.
That's really cool. They bodes well for Rushmore down the road.
You know, for having one sheet of ice with as many kids as they have playing and the limitations they have on ice time, indoor ice time, it's amazing how good their program is. It really is. They're obviously doing some things very well.
Yes. All right, on to the varsity report, and once again, shake things up a little bit. We're going to start with girls junior varsity.
Okay.
Girls JV had 5 games this weekend, and we'll start with a Friday night game in Yankton. Brookings girls junior varsity down playing in Yankton, and Brookings did win that game 7-0. That's a little bit tighter game than I would have expected, but still very, very good game, and you know.
Well, you know, the Yankton Miracle Girls, and by the way, they have been calling themselves Miracles. So
okay.
The Yankton Miracle Girls are very, very, what do I want to say? They're tenacious.
That's a good way to put it.
They will stay with it in any sport those Yankton girls play. They stay with it and work until they get it done. So
sounds good.
It's paying off for them.
Yeah, it certainly is. Moving on to Saturday, and there were 2 games on Saturday, only one of which I actually have a score for.
Okay.
The Sioux Center at Rushmore game was not scored online, so I don't have a final score for that as of yet.
Okay.
But in Brookings, Aberdeen girls junior varsity taking on the Brookings girls JV.
They were both undefeated.
Yes, they were. Well, JV.
Yes.
Okay. That's pretty impressive.
JV and varsity were both undefeated.
All right. That one went to Aberdeen 4-2, and I know you were at the game.
Randy was.
Oh, Randy was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't get. I was in Mitchell at the game.
I got all the directions all mixed up. I'm sorry. Sounds like it was a little bit of a rough and tumble game, pretty aggressively played, but the Aberdeen girls did come out on top. Congratulations.
And I do believe that Caitlin Holland for Aberdeen scored a hat trick in that game.
Okay, very good. Moving on to today's games. Once again, I've got a Rushmore score that is missing. Sioux Center Rushmore was played this morning. No score as of yet on the website. In Watertown today, Mitchell girls JV taking on Watertown. That would have been a very good game to be at as well. 2 very competitive competitive teams. Mitchell winning that one 6-2.
And that was in Watertown.
That was in Watertown. So very
done, Lady
interesting.
Marlins.
Yeah, certainly.
Anytime you bring a win home on the road, that's always nice to do.
Yeah, very much so. And that's it for the game. So you got a few stats for us.
We do have now in the lead for the girls JV goalie stats is Shelby Snow for Aberdeen Central, and she's got a 90.961. And Caitlin Wolf for Rushmore Thunder is sitting in there at a little over 92% save record. That's pretty darn good. And then Caitlin Eitoven, I'm getting it now, from Mitchell Marlins has a .919. And Marina Gersner for Brookings is a .894. So those are all, is a .904. So those are all above a 90%. Pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. Very impressive, actually. All right.
And Caitlin Holland with her 3 goals that she scored in the game Saturday night.
That move her up to top spot?
Up to tied with 24 points with Maddie Herman for Rushmore Thunder.
Okay.
2 great teams, and I think maybe Aberdeen and Rushmore girls are going to play each other this coming weekend.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So that'll be fun to watch that game. See who comes out with the most points there.
There you go.
Ashley Jones for Mitchell Marlins is sitting in third with 23 points, followed by Kensington Eckhoff, also of Aberdeen, with 21.
Very cool.
So some good stats there.
Great stats and lots of action going on in girls junior varsity. Once again, that tournament's coming up quickly, and it's looking like it's going to be a good one.
It will be. They're all going to be good. I can't wait though.
Moving on to boys JV. Once again, 5 games this weekend. Starting on Friday night out in Oahe, out in Fort Pierre. Oahe. Yeah.
Okay.
Watertown Lakers taking on the Oahe Caps boys junior varsity. 5-2 Watertown.
Wow, that's a little
interesting, isn't it?
It is.
So, must have been a great game. I'm really looking forward to seeing the rematch on that one, and when it comes up, that should be a lot of fun.
Oh, Oahe might not want to have the band come back anymore.
You never know. You never know. On to Saturday's games. Rushmore at Aberdeen. Boys junior varsity again. The Aberdeen Cougars take the win 2-0 over Rushmore.
So we got some upsets flipping around here.
Kind of sounds that way.
I don't know that they're actually upsets, but based upon records, you weren't sure how things were going to go. But they're a little bit surprising.
And there's more surprising coming.
Oh, okay.
So
keep going.
Yeah, we'll keep going. In Sioux Center, Sioux Falls boys JV taking on Sioux Center. That one went to Sioux Center 4-3.
This is good. The state tournament's looking more and more exciting for the boys JV.
It is. It's going to be a very, very interesting tournament.
Wow.
And moving on to today, Sunday, in Aberdeen again. Rushmore taking on the Aberdeen.
And
2-1 Rushmore.
Oh, okay.
So they play each other, and
Wow.
And then
a 2-goal game and a 1-goal game.
Yes, absolutely. And then our 2 newest associations playing each other today in boys JV.
Okay.
Yankton taking on Sioux Center in Sioux Center. And it was a goal fest. Score 10-6.
Oh man, that's when you wish you were there at the camera.
Sioux Center with the win.
Okay, wow.
So yeah, but wow, what a game.
That Sioux Center team is really making a name for themselves.
Yeah, they are.
I think they're coming up. I think they're 3rd in the standings now.
That's incredible. So, and you've got some stats for us.
I do have some stats. Boys JV goalie, of course, with Gus Kronberg and Nick Dalpo both playing in the JV goal due to the injury. They're still holding on to that lead on the JV side.
Okay.
Gus now has the top at .966, and Nick has .960. So
that's
still 96% saves. That's impressive. Dylan Peterson, and those guys are both from Aberdeen. Dylan Peterson for Huron All-Stars has a .938, almost 94% save percentage. Matt Pease of the Oahe Capitals, is .926. And that's not all. We still have one more goalie above a 90%. And that's Tyler Sterrett, also of the Huron All-Stars. So, impressive.
Incredible. And you think about those 2 at 96 and above.
I know.
And that's one letting in only 1 of 20 shots.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It is amazing. they're pulling that off.
That's just really cool. And how about the skaters?
Okay, guess who's in the lead for the skaters?
Boy, I don't know who.
Johnny Hockett.
Johnny Hockett.
Johnny Hockett from Brookings has 27 points. He's leading the skater stats. The first 3 are all Brookings.
Wow.
Kirby Selleck is in second with 18 points. Akron Prodell. Is it Prodell or Prodell?
Prodell.
Prodell. Sorry about that, Akron. Has 14. He's tied with 2 Sioux Center skaters with 14 points. Jaron Brew and Keaton DeYoung both also have 14. So, got some things going on there, but Johnny Hockett at 27 is pretty far ahead of everybody else. So.
That's cool. All right, so moving on. We've got girls junior varsity, and there were 7 girls varsity. I'm sorry. That's what it. Yeah, that's what it actually says here too. Yeah, stuff comes out of my mouth sometimes.
Well, you're still hoping for those other 2 missing scores on the girls.
Yeah, exactly. Girls varsity. There were 7 games this weekend. Busy weekend in girls varsity. We'll start on Friday night in Huron. The Watertown Lady Lakers taking on the Lady All-Stars, and it was a 7-4 win for Watertown.
Okay.
Not necessarily unexpected, but still must have been a good game. Would have loved to have seen it. Moving on to Saturday, 3 games on Saturday. First of all, Mitchell taking on Watertown in Watertown.
Okay.
Mitchell wins that one 9-6.
Ooh, goal fest.
Another goal fest. In Huron yesterday, the Sioux Falls Lady Flyers taking on the Lady All-Stars. 9-1 win for Sioux Falls.
Okay.
So pretty strong show for Sioux Falls.
Nice goal scoring there.
Right. And then last night in Brookings, the match, the hotly contested match. Aberdeen and Brookings, lady girls hockey, girls varsity hockey, just some great stuff.
From what I hear, maybe ladies shouldn't be put in there.
Yeah,
sounds
maybe
like
not.
It was a good physical game.
That was what I heard.
And 2 such great teams.
Yeah, Aberdeen, 2 undefeated teams.
Yes, 2 undefeated, 14-0 and 13-0.
Aberdeen takes the win, 5-2.
I would love to have seen it, but of course it was live streamed on Hockey 605.
Yes, it
now,
was.
If I wasn't live streaming some other games, I would have been watching it. But I get to watch it on tape later today.
Oh yeah, and I think I may have to watch that one as well. It sounded like it was a very, very fun game to watch. I know the crowd was into it, the players were into it, so I need to see that one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it, and I know Randall will watch it again.
Yeah. On Sunday. Yes. The rematch in Brookings. Aberdeen taking on Brookings again. This time the Lady Cougars with the win again, 8-3. So they've got a little scoring power.
Did you know that I think at the end of the second period, Aberdeen was down?
Yeah, they were.
Down a goal.
It
was like 3-2.
3-2.
And whatever happened in that second period, I'm going to have to go and look at the stats. I think that game is also available on high school theater. So.
It's another game I need to see.
Yeah.
I need to see it. In Watertown today, Mitchell taking on Watertown in the rematch. And this time it was Watertown with the win, 8-6. So I didn't pay a lot of attention to the stats, but I was kind of watching the stats on that game earlier this afternoon. Tiffany Heyman had at least 4 goals in the game. I know she had a couple of assists as well. She very high points for today's game.
That's awesome. I haven't got to see the Lady Lakers yet this season, so I'm looking forward to that.
They're
and the Lady Marlins.
Yeah, they're a fun team to watch. So the girls varsity tournament, once again, it's going to be a good time. And in Huron today, the rematch. Sioux Falls Lady Flyers taking on the Huron Lady All-Stars.
And yesterday it was a 7-1.
7-1 victory for, 9-1 victory for Sioux Falls.
Yes.
Today, All-Stars 3, Sioux Falls 2.
Well, based upon yesterday's score, that certainly is a surprise.
A mild upset, I believe.
I believe so.
But once again, a great weekend of hockey and girls hockey.
Now, was that an overtime game?
No, that was not an overtime. Oh, yes, it was an overtime game. I'm sorry.
I was thinking it was an overtime game.
So, it does say that here. Must have been a great game.
It must have been. Oh,
Now,
I'm just really excited.
I'm going to check the stat sheet just to make sure that it wasn't somebody just didn't.
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
That's what happened. It ended in regulation.
Oh, it did?
Yeah,
Okay.
they just hit next period on the
sometimes that
scoring, and it
happens.
became an overtime game.
And I've seen some that show up as an overtime game where there's a 4-goal differential. It's
Yeah.
like, really? Really? Okay.
Yeah, maybe not so much. And stats.
Stats. Well, let's go to the leaderboard first.
Okay.
Of course, that defeat of Brookings this weekend by the Aberdeen girls twice gives them the lead. They're sitting in the #1 spot with 30 points. And no surprise, in second are the Brookings Lady Rangers with 28. Behind them are Rushmore Lady Thunder. And I think there's still some matchups that need to happen with Rushmore and Brookings and Rushmore and Aberdeen.
I believe so.
So those will be some great games. And then the Sioux Falls Lady Flyers in 4th, Mitchell Lady Marlins in 5th, Watertown Lady Lakers in 6th, Oahe Lady Caps in 7th, and the Huron Lady All-Stars in 8th. But that win will help the Lady All-Stars.
Hey, certainly.
Nice for them to get that win. And that was their first win of the
Really?
season. Yeah.
So that was more than a mild upset then.
Yeah. Excuse me. That was a total victory.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I've seen the Lady All-Stars play. They have a very young team.
They
and,
do.
That's more than anything is a downfall. They're a little short on numbers. They don't have a lot of skaters. Got a goaltender who I believe is a 7th or 8th grader. So they're really doing well.
The Lady Flyers?
No, this is the Lady All-Stars.
Lady All-Stars.
Lady
Okay.
All-Stars. Yeah, I'm sorry if I said something different.
Well, I've probably heard something different. A lot going on.
Yeah. So much going on here.
The lady, yeah, there's always activity at the Iceplex. The 7th grader as a goalie. That's impressive. That's impressive. Well, on the goalie stats, I was thinking goalies automatically. Shelby Snow for Aberdeen Central is in the lead on the goalie stats for varsity with a .966, another above a 96%. But Haley Huff is at .921.
Right, and I believe
And
Haley.
she's really the main
she's their main goaltender.
Yeah.
I believe
Shelby maybe got some time and
maybe 1 or 2 games.
yeah, and so that gets there. Obviously, she did well in the game she was in, but Haley Huff is doing a great job up there. But Anna Vesey is only 1,000th of a point behind her from
Yikes.
Rushmore Thunder, Lady Thunder, .920.
Yikes.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Ava Kravenhoff from here in Sioux Falls has done some time in the varsity.
Yeah, she's
goal.
actually has been doing a lot of play lately. Brittany's been sick, so she's been down.
Okay.
But Ava actually played this entire weekend.
And is she a freshman?
Might even be younger than
Might
that.
even be
She's
younger
very
than
young.
that. She might be an 8th grader. .917. That's pretty darn good. And then Brittany is at .902.
Yeah.
So we've got 5 female goalies in the varsity division with above a 90%.
It's incredible. That's all I can say. It's
impressive.
incredible. Yeah, very much so. Skaters.
Skater stats.
Let me guess who's in first place, can I?
Yeah, go ahead and guess.
Bethany.
Bethany Rennick. You nailed it. Bethany Rennick, we call her a hockey studette. She's just so fun to watch out there. She has 49 points.
Oh, man.
Total, tallying up a lot of goals and assists. But then behind her are 3 Aberdeen Lady Cougars.
Okay.
So there's still a lot of room up there at the top of the heap. Haley Gold from Aberdeen and Haley Holland, the Haleys, who did a shout out for us on Hockey 605. They both have 44 points. They're tied.
Okay.
And that's not that far behind 49.
No, not at all.
A couple goals, assists, you got it. And then Rhiannon Abel from Aberdeen, Lady Cougars, has 42. So they're all those are up there in the 40s. And then Maddie Schultz from Rushmore Thunder has 38. So
still, it's a lot of points.
A lot of points.
All right, so moving on, last but not least, at the boys varsity. They had 7 games this weekend, 3 games on Friday night. We'll start there. In Mitchell, Yankton boys varsity taking on the Mitchell Marlins. It was a 16-4 win for Mitchell. Once again, not a real surprise, but Yankton did get 4 goals. It's a positive thing you can take out of it, but Mitchell was just a scoring machine.
Mitchell's a little longer established program.
Yes, much.
And they are a very effective program.
Yeah, certainly. On Friday night also in Oahe, the Watertown Lakers taking on the Oahe Caps.
The
varsity game. After the junior varsity game where Watertown won, this time the Oahe Capitals did take the win with a 3-1 victory over Watertown. So
they'll vote to keep the band.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what they're going to do though. They probably won't be able to play in the junior varsity game. They'll have to wait.
Yeah, have to wait until the varsity game, between periods of the varsity game.
In Sioux Falls, we did have the Sioux Falls boys varsity teams taking on each other. Boys 1 taking on boys 2, and that was a 7-0 win with boys varsity 1 taking the win. Once again, totally not unexpected, but I was really surprised at how close the score was, to be honest with you.
We were here live streaming. Randy was live streaming that game Friday night. I stayed as long as I could, but I had early morning Saturday, and it was a back and forth. I mean, they were really working hard out there.
All right. A little bit of a goaltender from the Orange team, the boys varsity 2 team, really doing it. Was that David Burns? Was he the one playing goal? I believe so.
I've watched so many games since then. I'm trying to remember.
Well, whoever it was, I heard, was just doing an incredible job. 52 shots on goal.
Wow.
And only had 7 goals.
That's pretty impressive, man.
So,
it was Burns. Yep.
All right, moving on to Saturday, we'll go back out to Fort Pierre. Oahe Caps taking on the Mitchell Marlins, 8-1 Oahe.
Wow.
So Caps are on fire.
Didn't expect that wide of a margin.
I did not either. Then moving up to Aberdeen on Saturday, Rushmore Thunder taking on the Aberdeen Cougars, and it was a 9-1 victory for Rushmore.
Aberdeen's been doing really well, but that Rushmore Thunder team is...
Yeah, they're for real.
It's a force. Yeah, they are for real.
And, but that still surprised me a little bit. I think they had a rematch today, so we'll see how that turned out. And then in Watertown last night, Sioux Falls 1 taking on the Watertown Lakers. And probably the upset of the weekend, the Watertown with the win, 4-2.
Wow, the Lakers varsity team has been a little bit of a sleep this season, and not doing quite what we were expecting them to do. But obviously they're ready to take on, and you're supposed to improve as the season progresses. You don't want to peak too early.
Yeah, certainly.
So, well, that's a good wake-up call for the Flyers as well.
And then in Aberdeen today, the Rushmore Thunder rematch with the Aberdeen Cougars, and it was a 7-1 win today for Rushmore.
Okay.
So Cougars are up 2 on the weekend. Rushmore takes 2 on the weekend. Sioux Falls 1 splits 1-1. What a crazy weekend.
It's just going to get crazier, I think, as it progresses.
And it really messed up with standings this weekend too. A lot of changes.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. With the Flyers and that loss, and Thunder with 2 wins. And it's going to be exciting when we get to that next season called the state tournament. Yeah. Because that's a whole new season.
Certainly.
In fact, Rushmore Thunder are now in the lead. They're now in the lead with 20 points. Oahe, with their win, are 1 point behind them at 19.
Right.
That's very, very close. And then we have behind the Sioux Falls are in 3rd position now. Sioux Falls 1 with 15 points, and then tied for 4th we have Mitchell and Watertown with 13 each.
Wow.
Brookings and Aberdeen are right behind them, both with 12 points, followed by Huron with 6, Yankton with 2, and Sioux Falls 2 are still looking for that elusive first win.
So a wild and crazy weekend in boys hockey here in the state, and the rest of the hockey as well.
Well, and I think some of the varsity teams may have been up in North Dakota at a tournament in Grand Forks.
There were some tournaments. There's always tournaments. Yeah. January is tournament month, particularly for boys, both varsity and junior varsity. So. There was some interesting news. I think it might have been last weekend.
Okay.
The Sioux Falls boys junior varsity took 2nd place in a tournament over in Albert Lea.
Really?
So that was great news for Sioux Falls.
Go to Minnesota.
Right. And playing Junior Gold B over in Minnesota, and they took the 2nd place and they took the game into a shootout.
Oh wow.
So they were that close.
And Junior Gold B is a good division.
Yeah.
That means a high caliber team.
Certainly.
Wow, well congratulations. Well done, guys.
All right. Well, that's it for the varsity. You have something else?
Well, we have the goalie stats.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Because I have some exciting news I want to share with you.
So go.
Okay, ready? The goalie stats. Adam Grady for Sioux Falls Flyers 2 has a .913.
All right.
Matt Pease, .901. Gus Kronberg on the varsity side for Aberdeen is at 900, at 90%. So those three are all above 90% save. The rest of them drop down below that. So while we have that line to distinguish, we'll just stick with those three for now.
Wow.
Skater stats. TJ Nolan for Rushmore Thunder with this weekend has pulled into the top. He has 37 points, followed by teammate Jack Oberg, who is tied with another teammate, Anthony Petrato, with 33 points apiece. And then, who was in the lead for a little bit, I got to meet this weekend and interview Jacob Sersosimo.
Yeah.
Sersosimo.
There you go.
There we go. From Mitchell Marlins is sitting right there with 32. So we got a tie for second. 32, 33, 37 points. But it was so fun to finally meet Jacob. And I must confess, I was going to ask for his autograph, but he took off on me. So. Players to watch. Anyway, we got some phenomenal skaters as well as goalies in the varsity program.
And tournaments are coming. It's going to be great tournament season. I just can't wait.
I can't either. The tournament season is a whole new season.
There you go.
Especially when you're seeing scores shift like this and positions shift. You know anything can happen.
That's for sure. All right. Well, we're done with the varsity report. Why don't we take a quick break for hear from one of our sponsors?
Sounds good.
Getting recruited by college coaches is more difficult every year. There are thousands of other athletes competing for your position. MyPlayerPage.com is the best place for athletes to showcase their personal and player information. Check us out today at MyPlayerPage.com. Any sport, any athlete, any state, any city, champions all.
Welcome back to Hockey 605's This Week on the Ice. Randy Preston here with Carol McKee.
And it's time for...
It's time for the Junior and Pro Report.
Pro Report.
So we'll start once again with the North American Hockey League and the Aberdeen Wings.
All right.
Wings traveled up to Cloquet, Minnesota.
Cloquet, that's how you pronounce it. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that. It looks like Cloquet, but it's Cloquet. I only know that because I've got family that lives about 10 miles away. So.
Well, it'd be like croquet.
Yeah, exactly.
Spelled the same way.
Exactly. Had a 2-game series against the Minnesota Wilderness. Friday, the Wilderness outshot the Wings 38-17. Yikes! But goaltender Andrew Shortridge was up to the challenge. Aberdeen scored a goal in the second. Tucker DeYoung with the goal. Tanner Okeson and Colin O'Neill with the assists. And then another goal early in the third.
Okay.
Will Hammer with the goal. Kyle Hawk with the assist.
Okay.
Take a 2-goal lead, and that was all that was needed.
Wow.
They won the game 2-0.
Despite being outshot 2-1, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
A little over. You know, that happens sometimes.
It
Not
does
very
happen
often.
sometimes.
But
You know, it actually happens more often than you think it does. You know, what I've discovered is particularly when teams get behind, all of a sudden they just start shooting. They just, you know, and that third period is usually completely upside down. This game, however, the entire game was upside down. They, the Minnesota Wilderness, each period took about twice the number of shots on goal that the Wings did.
wow. Well, mathematically, you'd think if you're taking more shots, more of them should go in.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always happen.
No, but you know, eventually it works. As Wayne Gretzky says, something to the effect of any shot not taken doesn't go in.
That's true. And over the course of time, I bet if you were to calculate them all out, the team that took the most shots got the most goals.
There you go.
That's what I'm going to stick with that story.
That works for me. Saturday night, the two teams returned to the Northwoods Credit Union Arena.
Okay.
All right. Second game of the series, Aberdeen scored early in the first. Colin Raver from Austin Swingle, and that was it for the Wings. Minnesota scored once in the first, once in the second, and then 3 goals in the third. The Wings could only muster 12 shots on goal on the night, and Minnesota took 42 shots on goal, 30 more shots.
And won. So
and they won.
That just proves my theory from earlier.
Yeah. Andrew Shortridge took the loss in net. He stopped 37 of 42. And the Wings have 3 games this week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday night, they are in in Aberdeen taking on the Brookings Blizzard.
Okay.
And then Friday and Saturday they will be taking on the Bismarck Bobcats in Bismarck.
In Bismarck. Well, good luck, Wings, this weekend.
They may need it. The Bobcats are on a tear right now.
Yeah. Well, you know, the Thursday night game, when the Wings and the Blizzard play each other, everybody wins.
Yeah, certainly. Well, then, speaking of the Blizzard, we'll move on to the Blizzard.
Okay.
Blizzard had an interesting Wednesday, Friday home-and-home series. They played Wednesday night in Austin against the Bruins at the Riverside Arena. Blizzard took the Bruins through scoreless regulation into overtime, 0-0 going into overtime. Ryan Kubik stopped a Bruins penalty shot midway through the third to keep the scoreless game going.
Well done.
But at 2:45 of the overtime, the Bruins scored to ice the victory. Ryan Kubik stopping 30 of 31 for the overtime loss. Friday night, two teams took the ice at the Larson in Brookings for the rematch. Very exciting first period, saw 5 goals. 2 by Brookings, TJ Samick from Nate Caldwell and Victor Lindell on the power play. And then a Garrett Elmore goal from Zach Glinke and Oscar Odd, also on the power play. Then Austin did score 3 goals in the first period. So we had 3-2 going into the second. Austin scored the only goal in the second period to make it 4-2. Blizzard scored early in the third, Oscar Odd from Nate Caldwell and Joe Anderson. But then Austin would end up scoring 2 empty net goals in the last minute of the game for a 6-3 win. Eric Hancock, in Brookings. Eric Hancock took the loss, stopping once again over 40 shots. He stopped 40 of 44. So
a lot of shots.
To stop.
That's too bad. And that empty net, that happens.
Yeah, nothing you can do about it. No, nothing you can do about it. But you know, you pull the goaltender to get that extra skater, and then even a lucky puck iced down the. If
you're down, all you can do is try and get that tie or win, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Go on. So.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you lose 6-3 or 4-3. I mean, it's a loss either way.
And those empty net goals, as you taught me last week, don't count against the goalie.
They do not count against the goaltender.
Team stats,
So the Blizzard hops on their bus, drives up to Bismarck for a quick trip on Saturday for just a single game.
So Wednesday and Friday they had the Austin game.
Yes, so Wednesday in Austin, Friday in Brookings.
Against Austin.
And then let's go to Bismarck for a Saturday night game.
Just for the heck of it.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Nice little 7-hour drive up to Bismarck.
Sure.
Bobcats would get out to an early 2-0 win, or 2-0 lead, 2 goals in the first. Blizzard would storm on back. In the second, they scored twice. Oscar Odd from Victor Lindell and Nate Caldwell on the power play. And then Joe Anderson from Zach Glinke, also on the power play. Tie it at 2.
At the end of the second.
End of the second, 2-2.
Okay.
No scoring in the third. 2-2. On to overtime. And at the 2:57 mark, a goal by the Bobcats.
Oh, not another overtime loss?
3-2 overtime loss.
But they get a point.
They get a point.
Okay.
So, Aberdeen had 1 win for 2 points. Brookings had 2 overtime losses for 2 points. So, their differential in the standings exactly the same.
Didn't have any impact.
2 points on the weekend for the Blizzard, as I said. Brookings travels to Aberdeen Thursday, and then the Minot will travel down to Brookings for a 2-game series on Friday and Saturday. I really need to go watch a Toros game, just because.
Minot's going to be in Brookings?
Yes.
On Friday
and Saturday.
Okay.
So, and in the standings, Minot is still in the lead. They got 2 points on the weekend. Austin picked up 4 points on the weekend. So the lead is getting a little bit tenuous for Minot. Bismarck is at 45 points in third place, Aberdeen at 38, and Brookings at 34. So,
well, yeah, they're keeping after it.
Yeah, they are.
Starting to run out of season.
Yeah, there's still a lot left.
Still a lot left.
Particularly, and I'm not exactly sure in the North American League how many teams make the playoffs.
You know, we probably should check into that before too long. But you know, that game Friday night and Saturday when the Toros come down here, that would be a huge win for Blizzard.
Yes, it would.
So we need people to get out, support the Blizzard, and not only would their defeat of the Minot team help the Blizzard, it would also help are Aberdeen Wings, right?
Yes.
So
everybody wins.
yeah, everybody wins. Everybody wins when the team at the top loses.
There you go. There you go. So on to the United States Hockey League and the Sioux Falls Stampede. The Herd finished their homestand, their 9-game homestand on Friday night.
That went fast.
Yeah, it did. But boy, I tell you what, working all those games, it got a little long.
Maybe it didn't go quite as fast for you as it did for me.
Yeah. They did play a game on Friday night, their first meeting of the season with the Lincoln Stars, Lincoln, Nebraska. Okay. And the Stampede started out strong, huge strong, scoring 3 goals in the first period. First goal was Kiefer Bellows with the goal, Cooper Marody and Logan O'Connor with the assists. Second goal, Troy Loggins from Dakota Joshua.
Okay.
And then another Kiefer Bellows goal with a Cooper Marody assist. So
Marody's having a really good season.
Bellows is having a great season.
Yeah.
Marody's having a great season. That would be all the scoring on the night for the Herd. That's it.
Okay.
3 goals, but that would be all they'd need.
Oh, okay.
Lincoln scored 1 goal early in the third. Stampede won 3-1. Art Bry took the win in net. Stopped 16 of 17 shots. The Herd would take 30 shots on goal for the night. So once again, doubled up on shots. 3-1 victory. On Saturday night, the Herd packed up their gear from the Denny. They're not going to be there for a couple weeks, so they emptied out their locker rooms, threw everything with them, threw everything in the bus, and they headed down to the Viero Event Center in Kearney, Nebraska, to take on the Tri-City Storm.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The Storm would score early in the first, but a goal by newly acquired defenseman Matt Nuttall from Cooper Marody and Clint Lewis would tie the game. Tri-City scored another goal in the first. They would take a 2-1 lead going into the locker room at the end of the first.
At the end of the first,
End of the first. In the second, Tri-City scored again just before the 6-minute mark. Herd would strike back at 8:27 on a goal by Ryan Schwalbe from Matt Nuttall and Lawton Courtnall. 3-2.
3-2.
At the end of 2.
At the end of, all right.
The third turned into a very defensive battle. Tri-City scored another goal at the midpoint, and then that was it for the night for them. Stampede took a 4-2 loss on the night. Steph Lekas took the loss in net, stopping 31 of 35 shots. The Herd could only muster 19 shots on the night. So once again, you take it, flip it around, 19 to 31. That's kind of the difference.
Well, that's unfortunate for that last home game.
Well, that was an away game. That was
that's right.
That was down in Kearney. So
that was in Kearney against Tri-City Storm.
Up next for the Herd are 2 on the road next weekend. They play in Sioux City on Friday night down at the Tyson Event Center. That one's a doable game for anybody who wants to take a short road trip. And if you haven't been to a game at the Tyson Event Center, they're a good time. They usually get a decent crowd down there. Not anything like we get here at the Denny, but it's still a lot of fun. And you know,
it looks. I've not been in the Tyson Event Center, but it looks very nice from outside.
Yeah, it's a nice building. It was, even though it's a hockey building, I don't think they really designed it very well for hockey sightlines. The seating's a little bit wide.
Oh, okay.
And not necessarily upright. So
stacked the way it needs to.
Yeah, but they still do it. They still draw a nice crowd. They have good games down there, and Sioux City, Sioux Falls, it's always a rivalry game.
Yeah, and I think anybody would be hard pressed to match the Denny right now.
Yeah.
But that should be a good game.
Which we're going to talk about right now.
Ooh, okay.
So, and then I should say on Saturday night, back to Kearney for a rematch against Tri-City. So they have a chance to revenge that 4-2 loss on Saturday night next week. Recent homestand, the 9-game homestand. The Herd went 7-1-1. And they had over 56,000 fans on the homestand.
Wow.
Now, that's a 9-game homestand, 56,000 fans. The next highest attendance in the United States Hockey League is under 40,000 for the entire season so far.
The next highest?
That's the next highest.
Wow.
So it's amazing the attendance that the Stampede is getting at the Denny. Over 6,000 fans per game, 21 home games, the combined attendance so far, 127,208. They are on track to get 180,000 people to Stampede games this season.
Oh, that just gave me chills. And it's not because it's cold in here.
That's amazing,
That is
folks.
amazing. An amazing response to hockey and to the Herd.
Right, and that 180,000 fans on the season, I believe that sets a USHL record, and it's not even close.
Wow.
I mean, it's a huge jump. The record, I believe, is in the 120,000, 130,000 range for the season.
There have been some historical, well, of course, every night is historical at the Denny because it's a new game and it's a new facility, but it's just amazing the turnout. And those games are so fun to go to. I just can't wait to get to a Blizzard game, a Wings game. I haven't been to either of those this season, and trying to find a time to get to the Rush game. Unfortunately, they're not going to be having a game when we're out there for the next state tournament.
Well, I tell you what, pro and junior hockey in South Dakota is going strong, and it's just amazing.
I forgot to tell you earlier, speaking of pro and junior hockey, our youth hockey is doing pretty well too, as we talked about, but we had a tweet during some of the live streaming yesterday from someone in Scotland that had found out about what we were doing on Hockey 605 and tweeted out and said, watching you from Scotland, pictures great, something to that effect. And I tweeted back and said, thanks for watching. I need to find out how they found out about it. This morning, we got another tweet from them. Watch it again this morning. This is awesome. Your youth hockey is more popular than our men's hockey.
Well, that's great. I love it.
We have fans watching from Scotland, England, all over the place.
That's amazing.
California, Montana, Phoenix, Canada, of course.
Right. Well, and I did my best in the stadium here on Saturday to mention Hockey 605 and the live streaming every chance I get, and I'd do one of these and have Randy. Randy was sitting back there,
just doing the shout
waving his hand. So it was always, I do what I can.
Whatever you were doing, you got a follower from Scotland.
That's perfect.
That's wonderful. So and that's not Scotland, South Dakota.
No, that's a good point. So Western Conference standings in the USHL.
Okay.
Sioux City's still in the lead, 47 points. Second place is Tri-City with 45. They're tied with Omaha, also with 45 points. Both of those teams have played 35 games so far, so that's a legit tie. They have the exact same record, 20, 10, and 5. So once again, legitimate tie. In fourth place is Sioux Falls, and they are tied with Des Moines for fourth place with 40 points. And then there's a team in Fargo that has 37 points, and they're in sixth place. So, in other words, the top 6 teams in the USHL Western Conference separated by 10 points.
10 points. Now, with Sioux City sitting in the top, and we have the Herd sitting in basically in third.
Right.
If we could get some of those 6,000 fans to go to Sioux City, that would be awesome.
It would be awesome. Yeah, if we could, and it's very typical for Sioux Falls in Sioux City to be represented by over 1,000 people.
Yeah.
That's pretty typical. But I would love to see 2,500 Sioux Falls fans down there.
That's just Friday, right?
Friday night.
This Friday. I'm sure you can contact Stampede and find out about where to get tickets.
The Tyson Event Center, the Ticketmaster, I know they have them. Frankly, they got enough seats in that building that you could walk up down there and.
Does look pretty good.
Yeah. So
that'd be a fun weekend trip.
It'll be a good time, absolute good time. So, Rapid City Rush. Rush played 3 games this past week, starting with the Sunday afternoon match that was going on when we recorded last week's show. That was in Moline, Illinois against the Quad City Mallards, rematch of the Friday night game, which was won by the Rush. Okay. Rush's only goal of the night was in the second period, scored by Daniel Barksuk from Scott Brannon and Sean Erickson. Not enough. Quad City scored 1 in the first, 2 in the third, decisive 3-1 win. Danny Battaccio took the loss in net, stopping 21 of 23. So, that's the way it is. Friday night, Jesse Schultz posted 5 points, a goal and 4 assists.
Oh, wow.
Cody Ferrero and Johan Rid, I think, supplied the other 4 goals. Rapid City Rush edged the Wichita Thunder in back and forth affair 5-4. Danny Battaccio scored his 12th win of the season in his 31st appearance. He stopped 12 of 14 shots. With his 5-point night, Jesse Schultz tied the Rush franchise record for points set in a game.
That was pretty impressive.
And he broke the single game record for points in a game and tied the single game record for most assists in a game.
Well done. Well done.
Very, very cool.
That's impressive points for one game.
Yeah. Three records in one game.
Now, was that at home?
That was at home on Friday night. Saturday night, they also had a game at home.
Okay.
It was Pink in the Rink night.
Oh,
at,
okay.
For Susan B. Komen breast cancer. Dylan Clark tied the game with less than 5 minutes to play in regulation, and Johnny Griggs stopped all 9 shots faced in relief. But the Rush fell to the Wichita Thunder in a 10-round shootout.
Wow.
4-3.
How often do they go 10 rounds?
Doesn't happen often.
Wow.
Doesn't happen often at all. After a 5-on-3 Rush power play expired, Matthew Brisebois unloaded a bomb on a pass from Danny Tetral to give the Rush a 1-0 lead at the end of the first. So the Rush had a 1-0 at the end of the first. Wichita opened the gates in the second period. They took control of the game in a span of roughly 10 minutes. 3 goals scored. This chased the starting goaltender Danny Battaccio from the net. Patrick Cullen brought the game within reach on a goal at 10:30 of the third period.
Okay.
Just moments later, Dylan Clark slammed home a rebound from Daniel Barksuk to send the game to overtime again. Eventually a shootout, 10 rounds into the shootout, the Rush were denied after a Wichita goal. Griggs took the shootout loss, but what a game.
Wow, what a game. It sounds like it was exciting every step of the way.
And the Rush, they are heading to Texas to take on the Allen Americans on Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
That's their games for this week. They did have a break midweek this last week for the ECHL All-Star game. I don't believe there were any Rush players in the All-Star game. I couldn't find much information on that. But the standings in the Western Conference, really nothing has changed much. But toward the top, there's been a little bit of shuffling. But the Rapid City Rush still in 5th place. They are 5 points behind the third place teams, Quad City Mallards and Tulsa Oilers. Rapid City has 37 points, and the Quad City and Tulsa have 42 points.
Okay.
So it's still doable.
Still definitely doable. And of course, a couple of wins against the Allen Americans, who are leading the pack,
Yes.
would be a really nice feather in their hat. It's going to be a tough battle for them, though.
Those would be big wins.
Yeah, huge wins.
And in Allen, Texas, that's once again that's a feat.
Yeah, it is, but it's doable.
It is
doable.
And for those fans that can't get to the Rush game in Allen, Texas next week, they do have an ECHL video pass that you can purchase.
Okay.
And you can watch the games online.
Do you happen to know how much those are?
They just released a half-season pass. I think it's about $60
for all the rest of the games?
entire ECHL, for all games in the East Coast Hockey League.
Wow.
No matter who the team is, $60 you can watch them all.
Wow.
So,
well, get a bunch of friends together,
Yeah.
buy the package, and have them come over and put it on the big screen.
there you go. That certainly sounds like a good time to me.
Right?
All right, so that wraps up the pro and junior report.
And I think that pretty much wraps up about everything that we have for the weekend.
I think it does.
We had a lot of fun this weekend watching them play everywhere. Wish we could be more places at one time than we can.
Just so many things to do, too few bodies.
That's true. That's true. We love to watch you play, and we hope you continue to come back and see us here at Hockey 605.
That's right. And for all of us at Hockey 605 and This Week on the Ice, I'm Randy Preston.
I'm Carol McKee.
Thanks. Have a great week. See you next week.